What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. As of lately, you notice that I haven't been uploading as much as I usually do, and I have a pretty good reason for that. And chances are, if you're watching this video, then you have a small idea, and yes, it is simple session related, as the title might indicate. But before I do that, make sure that you drop a like on this video, and if you haven't done so, please subscribe to the channel. We're at 112,000 strong right now. Okay, so what happened? For a lot of you guys that subscribe to me on this channel or follow me on Instagram, you know that I went to Simple Session a couple weeks ago, and I actually did pretty good. I posted some of the clips in the earlier video, so if you haven't watched that video yet, make sure to do so. After the finals, we all went out to party. It's the one last night in Tallinn. My flight was at 7 a.m., so the plan was pack everything up, hit the party, and then make sure to leave around like 5:30 so that I can make it to my flight on time at the airport that's only 15 minutes away. As luck would have it, that's not how things went down. There's another thing that happened that night right before my incident that I want to talk about, and a lot of you guys might have seen something about this on Anthony Panza's video or on Austin Augie himself's channel. For those of you guys that are familiar with both of our channels, you know that we've had some differences over the years, and there's a couple altercations that had to do with Adam22 and Austin Augie. I'm sure if you Google the video, you can find it. Basically, things kind of spiraled out of control, and he and I had this small tiff that ended up escalating. And it's been years since we talked, and Estonia was the first time that we hung out in the same venue, and you can imagine that seeing someone over and over, it is either gonna end in a fight or some sort of resolution. He and I both crossed paths, and I decided that it wasn't really worth all this grief, and a lot of you guys had to choose between he or myself. Some people went on his camp, others went on mine. Ultimately, I just wanna say that that beef is pretty much over now. I have no hard feelings towards the dude. He got in a fight with Billy Perry, so he was in rough shape. At first, things were gonna kind of escalate to a fight, but I quickly de-escalated it, and you know, like I said, no hard feelings. Austin, keep doing your thing. Congrats with all the success, and I'm out here doing my thing, so, you know, I don't know if we're gonna necessarily become best friends, but hey, on my end, beef is over. Now, to what happened to me. So that was probably around like 4 in the morning, 4:30, but keep in mind when you're in Europe, people party a little later, so we didn't get to the club till like 12:31 anyways. It was a heavy crew. Matt Ray, Mark Burnett, Jiri, so many homies were there. So, you know, we got pretty loose. And right before my incident, there was actually a fight that broke out right in front of me with these bouncers. Things got a little hazy, I would say, and essentially we were kind of playing like a little game of tag, and there's a balcony on the second story that I thought would be pretty funny if I like ran up to it and kind of like clipped myself on the hip, pretended to tumble over, you know, haha, little scare tactic or whatever. Well, that's not exactly what happened. Essentially, I did that, clipped myself, and as I went to grab the guardrail, my hand slipped. There's like a wire, and it slipped my hand here pretty well. Like I have 2.5 weeks later, so I have some scarring and a couple other issues. The wire cuts my hand. I feel it. I'm trying to hold on, but I can't. And I just basically front flip off the second balcony. I still don't fully know what happened from here to there. I didn't exactly get knocked out, but I don't remember the full collapse. Like I just remember the feeling of falling, almost like in one of those dreams when you like falling and then you wake up. Kind of the same sensation. I fell. I kind of like was like, well, this is it. I'm tumbling over. I don't know what's gonna happen. I'm assuming there are some people down below that broke my fall because the way I fell, the bruising wasn't exactly like even. It felt like I hit my chin, my cheek. I feel like my teeth got a little misaligned. Like there's like a little bit of overlap here. Like I said, my cheek was pretty swollen the next day. Cut my hand pretty well. And then my ribs were hurting and my waist where I apparently hit the guardrail. So while I'm on the ground, I kind of like assess the situation. I feel my teeth, I feel my face, and then I realize like, oh, I'm alive. I didn't get knocked out, and I don't know what's gonna happen next. Essentially, the bouncers rush me, take me to this dark room. I don't know if they're speaking Estonian or Russian or whatever. Obviously, I'm in a different country, so I'm at their mercy. They kind of assess the situation and see that I'm not like delirious. They definitely can tell that I've been drinking, and they quickly bandage up my hand like with essentially just like regular tape and then kick me out. I scramble, get back to the hotel, get all my stuff together, and then try to make it to the airport. I probably am maybe like 10 or 15 minutes late, but you know, everything's all right. But somehow there's like a delay in the flight. I don't know exactly what happened. They ended up setting me up with a different flight to Warsaw, Poland. When I arrived there, then they tell me that that flight now has been delayed by 10 hours. So they're gonna have to put me in a hotel room, which they do. A very nice one, I might add. But then I'm on the phone with my chick, and I'm kind of explaining to her like, hey, yo, like, this fall happened, this and that. And I remember getting a little like choked up, but I wasn't sick all week. And yeah, it's cold, it's winter time. I think it was like 5 degrees where we were at. I kind of just cough a little bit and I feel like quite a bit of phlegm. And then I just thought about it, I was like, that's weird. So I kind of like spit into my own hand, because I don't want to spit on the floor of the airport. And I notice it's blood. So at this point, I kind of panic. I call my chick and I tell her, I'm like, hey, I'm coughing up blood. So she starts freaking out. She's like, you need to go to the hospital, blah, blah, blah. So I asked the security at the airport to help me out. They take me to their ER room that's in the actual airport. They do a quick evaluation. They touch my ribs and they can tell they're sensitive, but they don't think they're broken because I would be in a lot more pain. So then they recommend that I go to a hospital and they could take me in an ambulance. And I don't know if you guys remember, but a couple years ago, I got in a motorcycle accident and that ended up costing me like $30,000. Didn't want to repeat that. So I was like, no, I'll just take a taxi. Bad idea in Poland. I didn't have cash. I only had my credit card. I didn't have data in Poland. So essentially I just hop in this taxi. He takes me to like the most clandestine hospital I've ever been to. It almost looks like an old abandoned castle. It was very strange. I get in there. They don't take credit cards. So they make me like walk 1.5 miles in the 5-degree cold with like my ribs all jacked up and I'm hobbling. My knees are super bruised. I forgot to mention that. My elbows as well. I make it to the ATM. I have to grab like Poliskis, I believe they were called. So I get 1,000 of them. It's essentially, I think that's $250. I go bring that to the lady at the ER room. They're like, okay, stoked. They end up doing the x-rays and then I waited for about 2.5, almost 3 hours until an 80-year-old doctor finally came out of like this, I don't even know, this back room, and he shuffled. I think like he had back problems or leg issues or something, but he shuffled his way over, told me to come into the room, and in very broken English, he told me, and I quote, "Thorax okay, you fly." So I was like, all right, well, apparently he said I'm good. Next morning comes, I hop on the plane. I don't feel too much pressure, but so I'm assuming everything's good. I land in the States, I go to the hospital out here, and they ended up telling me that I have essentially the muscles and the ligaments that are around my ribs. Those have been like kind of almost like sprained. So anytime I breathe in, it would like stab me in the ribs. And then I had a bruised lung. So that's why I was coughing up blood. It's nothing too crazy. You just have to watch out for like respiratory infections and all this other stuff. But it was definitely probably the scariest maybe like week of my life, just because first off, I really dodged death, so I'm super thankful and blessed that that wasn't any worse. I didn't break anything. I didn't get knocked out, and I don't think I hurt anybody because there was nobody else in that little waiting room with me at the club. So I assume whoever I hit was just kind of like a small bruise or whatever, but very sorry about that. And essentially, it kind of made me reflect on a lot of things, kind of like made me take a step back from a lot of partying and just kind of like putting yourself out there. Obviously, as a BMX rider, you take a lot of risks, but they're a little more calculated than, messing around and jumping off balconies and whatnot. So I wanted to take like the last like 2 weeks. So I took essentially the first half of November away from like vlogging. I haven't been able to ride. Obviously my hand is still like pretty jacked up. I can't move this finger fully. So like when I flex it, you can see that this one kind of like stays upright. The ligament is kind of messed up a little bit. So I'm gonna have to do some rehab on that. But all in all, unscathed essentially. Just very grateful for everything. It's definitely a learning experience. And at my age, running companies and, overlooking other people, I should definitely watch out for myself a lot more. So again, sorry for the lack of uploads. That's basically the reason. I just kind of wanted to take a little step back to assess everything. But now I want to announce that we have on Sunday, February 24th, we're doing an event out in Anaheim, California for the Tuner Evo. It's going to be an On Some Shit sponsored rail jam. We're going to have Michael Harkis, Brandon Began, Ethan Courier, Markel Jones, Antonio Chavez. There's going to be a whole slew of riders that are going to come. So if you're anywhere in Anaheim, make sure to come out to that Tuner Evo. I'll make sure to put the flyer up here. Then after that, we have a couple other events that I'm going to allude to. We're going to have a street jam coming up, and then we're going to be announcing a extensive video project we'll be doing with On Some Shit. So stay tuned for all that stuff. For all of you guys that have been loyal subscribers, thank you so much for all the support. For everyone that's been DMing me asking where the vlogs are at, thank you for that. It definitely gets a little fire under my ass, so this is why I'm making this. And I hope you guys enjoyed this little storytime video. Like I said, very blessed, very thankful, and lesson learned. So from here on out, guys, a lot more content. And if you don't see any, for whatever reason, make sure to DM me and remind me that I'm slacking. So, all right, guys, I'm out. Much love. Like, share, comment, subscribe. Peace.
puto.
Bye.